and I thank you, Father, for this daily bread. Well, children, we need to enjoy the last of this leavened bread for the next few weeks. The Creator taught us to throw out the old leaven in our bread and get a new leaven every year. We want to go out and do that, just in case the bugs we have in our captivity and our starter become crossed with hybrids, with any bugs that may be living in our refrigerator. We like to do that with our faith too. Every year at Passover, we throw out the genetically modified religion and start out with Yahweh, our Creator's pure word. It's wild and living and is the right leaven for the bread of life that feeds the world. Well, now that you have finished some of the last of the leavened bread, we better go outside and catch some bugs for our new leaven.
Children, what are you doing out there?
Catching bugs for a starter!
Oh, you're doing a great job, but they're much too small to fit in a net. We are getting microbes, and you just see those through a microscope. You'll have to come in and let me show you how we're going to catch them when we make a home for them. How's that?
Okay, Oma. Okay, Oma.
All right, children, we're going to make a home. We're going to use this clean glass jar. They like things clean. They don't like to live where it's dirty. You have to have everything nice and clean. And then we're going to put a quarter cup of water in a bowl and a quarter cup of flour, of the fresh whole wheat flour ground. And we're going to stir that up. And we'll put it in their jar, and that's going to make a real attractive home for them. So we're going to take a cloth like this that's not too heavy, but yet no big bugs can get through it, but you can see through it a little bit, see? And that will be where the microbes will be able to go in. And then this has a bigger screen, and that's to keep any animals or anything that might want to get in it out. And we're going to screw that on nice and tight. And then we're going to take it outside, and we're going to find a place where the microbes like to live, on the green plants, leaves, grass, and things like that. So we're going to put it out there, and they'll see that, and they'll say, there's something we like in there. That's where we would like to have our home. So they're going to come in through here and start living. And every day, then we're going to bring it in the morning, and we're going to give it another a fourth a cup of water and a fourth a cup of flour, and stir it up like this again. And we're going to dump this into there and feed it that other fourth a cup of water and flour, and wash this jar good and clean again, and we're going to put it back in here. And we're going to do that for 7 days. Put it back out in the greenery for 7 days. And after that, then they'll be living in there, and then they'll start growing in there more and more. And as they grow, they are what makes the flour and water so that it'll start to rise. And so when we bake bread, that's what causes the bread to rise instead of yeast. Isn't that interesting? So we're going to go outside, and we're going to find a place to put this where the microbes will live. Okay, children, this is the house that we made for our microbes to make their home. Remember? So we're going to go out, and we're going to find a nice green spot. We don't want it in full sun because it gets too hot. We want to keep it cool in the shade, and we want it to not get animals to get into it. Maybe this would make a good spot where it's got lots of leaves to shade it.
Yeah.
Let's try and see if our jar will fit down here just right, that hole. And then those leaves over the top. Do you think that might do very well, huh?
Yeah, so the bugs will see it.
The microbes will find it, and they'll say, oh, this will be a good home for us. And it's been 7 days out there now, and so you can see that it's starting to come alive. Do you see? So now we're going to pour it out into a clean bowl, and we're going to give it some fresh water and some fresh flour again. So we're going to give it the water and the flour, and we're going to mix that up. And that's going to go back in a clean jar again, but it doesn't have to go outside anymore. It's going to go in the refrigerator, but every day you're going to take it out and you're going to feed it again. All right, now that we washed our jar nice and clean, now we're going to put the starter in that we just got through feeding. So remember, a 1/4 cup of water and a 1/4 cup of flour. So then we're going to keep this in the refrigerator, and every day you're going to feed it, but you're going to start to feed it a little bit more. From the 1/4 cup, you're going to go up to a 1/3 cup, and then you're going to give it equal amount of flour. Then you'll go up to a 1/2 cup the next day, and the next day, as you begin to see it start to grow, you'll see it start to rise in the jar a little bit, and bubbles in it. And then you know that it's taking off really good. And then you can start feeding it a cup of water. And then I usually give it a little bit more flour than water at that point, so it's not quite so thin. I like it to get a little thicker.
Hi girls.
Hi.
We're so glad you could join us. Today we're going to go through the steps that it takes to feed your bread starter so that it can be nice and healthy. And the first thing I want to tell you is that your bread starter is alive, so you need to remember that. It's full of microbial action and it needs to be taken care of properly. So you need to give it the right amount of food and the right amount of water, and it likes to be at a constant temperature.
Okay.
And it's a lot of fun. You're going to have a lot of fun with it. So Sarah's going to start by getting the starter out of the refrigerator. And that's where it needs to be kept at all times unless you are actually feeding it or preparing it to make bread.
Okay.
So you'll notice she has it in a glass jar.
And it's kept in a glass jar so that it can stay sterile. It's best to wash your jar out in between every time you feed your starter. And just rinse it, make sure there's no starter residue left in it, no soap, and it just needs to be kept as clean as possible. So try not to lean too far over it or breathe into it or sneeze or anything like that.
Okay.
So,
Okay, the first step is to pour it into your nice clean bowl. You notice how stretchy it is?
Mm-hmm.
You can tell it's alive. Look at all the bubbles.
It's really bubbly.
It is. It's really a lot of fun to work with. Okay, so the first step that you do after you pour it into your bowl is to put 1 cup of cold water into your starter. And if you don't have cold water, then sometimes it's helpful to add ice cubes or maybe put a jar of cold water in your refrigerator. And then you just pour a cup in, and you stir it up. And it doesn't matter how long you play with it. Actually, it likes to be played with, so the more you stir it, the better. But if you're in a hurry, it does fine with that too. It's very forgiving. Very.
Okay. So if some people have chlorinated water, can they use that?
Well, with chlorine, you have to remember that chlorine is actually a chemical that kills bacteria in water. So that's what that's used for. So if you use chlorine in your water and you pour it into your starter, it's going to damage it severely to the point where it won't make nice bread. So you don't want to use chlorinated water at all. If you don't have good water, you might want to buy some distilled water or spring water, or get a filter on your system so you have good water.
Okay.
Okay, and then the next step is to add 1 cup of flour, and Sarah will tell us about that.
It's best to add hard red whole wheat flour, and you can just buy that fresh, or you can grind it yourself. It's best to grind it fresh yourself, but if you have a good source, you can get it fresh. That's fine too.
And if there's a few little chunks of flour in there, it won't hurt anything. It's just fine. Because the starter's alive and it just kind of eats up the flour. It digests it. Now, the more often you feed your starter, the better it is. If you stay consistent and do it once a day, the better it is. If you skip a day or two, it's not going to die, and it's going to be okay, but it's going to turn sour. It's just like anything that you want to be healthy, you take care of it consistently and more often, just like you would a baby or your child or whatever. So you want to just keep taking good care of it and be consistent. That's the key to making really good bread. Okay. Once it's all mixed in, then you're going to use a funnel to put it back into your jar. And you want to use a funnel because it'll drop into the jar a lot nicer without making a mess on the sides.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and put it back into the jar. And then it's all ready to put back in the refrigerator for when you want to make bread. So you'll do this again 24 hours from now, or if you want to speed it up and feed it again 6 or 8 or 12 hours from now because you want to make bread sooner, you have company coming or something, then you can feed it more often,
Okay.
but at least once a day. That's
All right.
helpful.
Well, it's nice to have you girls.
Hello, Anne-Marie. Hello, Anne-Marie.
This session we will be going over the basic making of the starter bread, the basic recipe, and how to go about that. So it's really fun, it's really simple, and once you have the 4 ingredients together, it just is a whiz. So to start off here, we are going to grind our flour. And so to begin, we will dip out our wheat here. We like to use organic hard red wheat, and we like to grind it fresh because it makes our bread even more nutritious for us. So we'll go ahead and start this here. Okay, our flour's all finished grinding here now, and we will be getting out our starter from the refrigerator now. I usually begin with measuring out my starter that I want to use for my batch of bread. So we'll be using 4 cups. measure our 4 cups of water. And that as well. And our 1 tablespoon of salt. And the flour, a basic guideline is 11 to 12 cups for this amount of starter and water. And it is going to vary just a little bit depending on how thick your starter is, but that's a basic guideline. Mm-hmm. So I usually add a few cups here to get started, so it doesn't splash around when it starts. So we'll begin with 4 cups. Okay. Add some more flour here. Note that is mostly mixed in. You can mix bread up by hand as well. A mixer just makes it a lot faster and requires less arm muscles. So it's nice, but it is possible to do it by hand as well. Continue gradually adding our flour. Okay, we'll go ahead and check it for its texture and see if it still needs some more flour. If you're able to handle it by the time you're finished mixing it, then it will be just right for forming once your bread is raised. So this is the 12th cup, I believe, here. We'll just add a little bit and see how it's doing. So at this point, we'll let it knead on a medium to low setting in the mixer. And if you end up adding just a little bit too much flour and you think, oh my, this is a little bit too thick, you can go ahead and just add a little bit of water to it and then finish up with a sprinkle of flour and it'll finish cleaning out your bowl. And most breads you can't do that with. Okay, our 5 minutes are up now and feels really nice. And once you get the oil in the bowl and it's had its time to rise, it'll be just about right. Okay, this is sometimes the tricky part. Just getting it out of the bowl once it's so stiff.
Can you put honey in it to make it sweeter?
You can. A lot of people like to add just a little dab of oil and a teaspoon to tablespoon of honey, and that'll take any sourness out of it at all. It's just totally up to you, and as you experiment and have fun with it, you'll get used to what you're accustomed to liking. And yeah, so you can add any little things you like, seeds, or like I mentioned earlier, experiment with different kinds of grains. Here it comes. There. Then I just like to fold it over. So you turn the bowl, give it a little extra hand kneading here. Give it a nice smooth top. We'll flip it over here for it to rise. Here we go. We have a nice bowl of dough here. And in about 5 to 6 hours, it'll be ready to form. It's nice to start your batch of bread in the morning. Then by dinner time, you should have a nice batch of fresh bread out of the oven. So it's now ready to have its rising time of 5 to 6 hours, and it's just so easy, and you can go about the rest of your day until it's time to form. And so the 4 key ingredients are, do you remember?
Salt, flour, water, and starter.
Right. Just those 4. It's so easy. 4 cups of starter, 4 cups of water, a tablespoon of salt, and around 11 to 12 cups of flour.
Hello, girls.
Hi.
So happy to be here again.
Yes.
We're going to we're going to take care of our bread dough that we have made and make it into rolls and hamburger buns and loaves and I think a sweet roll too, huh?
Yeah. For the bread
Obed,
Good.
our little grandson here, and
Say
his
hi.
mommy, Michelle.
Say hi.
We're going to work together on do it. And so Michelle's going to start out first. And you be sure and ask any questions you need to ask, and
We'll
we'll
get started.
see how we do here.
Okay. We mixed up our bread earlier today, and it's risen all the way to the top of the bowl, and it's ready to be formed into all kinds of goodies, huh? So we'll take our saran wrap off. Are you going to help me make some loaves of bread? Wouldn't that be fun? So we will take some oil and put on our counter here.
And this is made with the natural starter.
Yeah, all that good starter. So we'll swirl this around on our counter so it doesn't stick, and we pour our bread dough out. Take that, thank you. Okay, let's put it into our oiled surface here. We'll kind of work it around. As you can see, it's nice and stretchy. Huh. Do you want to help me, Obed? Do you like playing in the bread dough? The more you work it, the smoother it gets. It gets nice and shiny. Okay, that's probably good enough, and we can cut off a piece to make our, let's see, Obed's going to make a little loaf today. And I'm going to make a regular size loaf. Okay, we're going to smash it down flat and
Just
kind
like
of
Mom
work it
does.
around. I always
Fold
pull it.
over like Mommy does.
I always pull it from
That's
the
way.
middle, or
And
from
then
the outside
smash
and
it
into the
down.
middle.
That's the way.
You want to get all the air bubbles out of it so you get a nice textured bread.
Okay.
If you don't get the air bubbles out, then you get holes in your bread, and that's not very good when you put jam on it or something, huh?
Yeah.
Is this fun? You like being Mommy's helper, don't you? Okay, let's move this in the middle, take this hand and go this way. The children always like to be involved in it, too. And the dough likes to be played with, doesn't it?
What a wonderful learning.
Okay, I always pinch it to get all the air bubbles out of it. Can you pinch yours? Pinch it kind of like that. There you go. And I always roll mine over. Kind of pull it toward me. Get it
That's
nice
the
and
way-
smooth.
Obed, you're doing
Yours
good.
is doing really well.
Okay.
So after we get our... You already put...
I'm done.
You're done already? Wow, you're fast.
So,
now we'll just put this aside and let it rise. And when it's all risen, then we'll put it in the oven at 325 for about 40 minutes. And if you like it, depending on your oven, it might be 350 degrees for 40 minutes. And if you like it a little bit browner, you can do it for 45 minutes.
that Michelle's going to make buns now with you girls.
Yeah, I'm going to
The
teach you
rolls.
ladies how to make some rolls. So we'll get our pan ready. And we probably will do some hamburger buns also. Spray our pan, get that prepared. And I was taught how to do rolls a faster way by a good friend of mine, Tina from Canada, that she learned from the Mennonites, how to do 2 rolls at once,
Wow.
doing a circular motion with your hands. So I'm going to teach you ladies how to do that, girls.
Okay.
Are you going to help too? Here you can.
Do the same things.
Yeah. So we'll just kind of work our dough a little bit more. And I just pinch a piece off about that size.
Okay.
You can do it bigger, smaller, whatever you prefer. So I'll give each of you a couple pieces. Do you want to try a couple too, Obed? Little Obed pieces. Okay, the way I was taught is that you cup your hand, kind of put your fingers together so there's like do a rabbit, huh? And then you put your fingers, just cup them around, so you just cup it right over the top of your dough. So it's just like you're holding a golf ball in your hand. And then you just take it and you just barely touch your fingers to the counter and roll them around in a circle. You just roll, 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 or doing a circular motion. You can kind of feel it rolling in between your fingers and your palm of your hand. And when you're done, you get a couple rolls.
Wow, that is really fast.
Yeah,
Make it
so
a
I
little
usually
more
bake
crusty.
these like at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes.
Uh-huh.
You can do them a little bit longer than that if you like them crustier.
Okay.
So that's our rolls. We'll let them sit on the counter and rise for another hour or so. You
Okay.
can rush it if you want to because they do rise quite a bit in the oven also, and they'll still be pretty fluffy.
Don't get it to stick
Okay.
on your
And when they're
fingers. You have to
risen
put
enough, then we'll put them in the oven and bake them at 350 for 20 minutes.
All right.
I still do these. I need some more oil on my hands.
I didn't need some of those things too.
Do you? Okay, rub them together. Okay, I still do these the same way. You just kind of, you don't put your hands quite on the table all the way.
Let's see, because it's bigger.
Just roll them like that. And then you can smash them down a little bit if you want to, depending how big you want them. Then they will rise up really nice.
Okay.
Are those your little hamburger buns? So just round and round and round, and you get your hamburger buns. And you can put oil on top of them if you'd like to, make a little thinner crust.
Okay.
He's gonna
There.
put two little hamburger
There.
buns.
Perfect. We'll put one there and one there. You did a good job. Wasn't that fun?
Now Mommy's going to make
I
the
think
cinnamon
we'll make
bread.
cinnamon bread out of that. We'll let Oma do a braid. Hi, girls. How are you
Hi.
doing today?
Good.
We're
Good.
going to have some fun. We're going to get our hands in some bread dough and we're going to make some cinnamon rolls. So we're going to really roll it around, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is to oil our surface. And you girls are going to help me too. We're going to oil our surface pretty wide because we've got a big pan to fill up because we've got a big crew to feed. There's our dough. It's nice and fluffy and spongy, just how we want it. Just put this aside. We're just going to work this round a little bit. See how stretchy that is? Really nice. I'm going to give you girls a little piece too so that you can make your own little cinnamon rolls. And we'll oil your surface a little bit there, and you can mix it around. Let's see, that might be too much for you. You can do a couple different ones. You can just keep it there for now, and I'll show you how we're going to do. There's some for you. A little bit more. Yours isn't quite as big as Gretchen's. Okay, look at how big my piece is. We're going to fill this pan, and if we have anything extra, we're going to make it into a cinnamon roll loaf of bread, because that's always fun too. So I'm going to use a rolling pin and just roll it out. Just like that. Doesn't it look pretty?
Yeah.
Whoa, we got a big piece. Let's get a knife and cut it just enough that I can make a loaf of bread too, because I can see I have way too much dough to fill that pan. So we'll set this aside for just a bit. Should we roll yours out? Roll it this way. Oh, your surface is a little bit too oily, huh? There, that looks perfect. Okay, we're ready to put the ingredients on our cinnamon rolls. What do you think we should put on it? Everybody puts a few different things on it. What do you want on it? Some nuts, maybe? And cinnamon and raisins? What are we going to put in here? We want to make them nice and gooey and sticky. Do you like them sticky? I do too. We'll spray our pan so they don't stick. You sure don't want them to stick in there. Because the way I like to make them is to tip them upside down and have all the gooey stuff on the top. So what I like to put in the bottom is some brown rice syrup, or you can put maple syrup or some different types of sugar or something. But this is my favorite way that my mom taught me how to do it. Just put some brown rice syrup in there. I like to use organic too. This makes them nice and sticky. How does that look? Pretty good? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then I like to put a little bit of molasses. And this makes it really caramely. Doesn't take much. We're just going to put it on there really fun looking like that. We'll make some designs. That makes it even funner. You know what you're going to help me do this part? This part's the fun part. You take your finger and you go swirly, 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 swirlies. Look at how fun that is. Makes like little paisleys everywhere, huh? Woo! That mixes it all together and it makes it more fun. You never can be too little to do this or too old to do this. Never grow out of being a kid. Okay. Ooh. You need to wipe your fingers off. Okay. Now, to make it more caramely yet, we're going to put some cream on it. Just enough to kind of cover the surface of it. That look good? Mm-hmm. A little bit more over here. Okay. And we won't stir that around. We'll just go like this and just kind of mix. Let it go in the top like that. These are going to be yummy. All right. Now what I'm going to do is put some people like to put butter on their surface first and then put your ingredients on.
That's what I like to do.
Do you like to do it that way? I kind of do too, but today I'm just going to put some honey on it. Some people like to put date sugar or maple sugar or maple syrup, brown sugar, whatever you want to do to make it sweet. So I'm just going to put this, let's put it on kind of like we did in the pan. It's probably easier to do it with a honey bear or something, but I'm going to do it like this because it's more fun. We'll put some on yours too when I'm done with this one. So just put it around evenly on there. This as evenly as you can get it. Like that. Okay, Gretchen, are you ready for some on yours? Just like this and like that. And that should be good enough for yours. And we'll put some on yours. Esther. The hair, does that look good? Is that enough? Or do you like it sweeter? Is that good enough?
Sometimes.
Not today, though. We'll make it just this way. Now we get to put cinnamon on it. I'll let you guys put your own cinnamon on. You can do this pretty thick because unless you don't like cinnamon, but I like cinnamon. Sometimes it gets stuck in there.
So do I.
Do you like cinnamon too? It's yummy.
That's the whole reason I make the cinnamon roll.
It is, huh? What's a cinnamon roll without cinnamon? Are you having fun? Good. Me too. Okay, good enough? Okay, we're going to put some raisins on. You can get some, Gretchen, for yours. Well, I put some on mine. You can put however many you want. If you don't like raisins, you don't have to put raisins on it either. Do you like raisins? Me too. Okay, you put some on yours. I've got just about enough. You need a few more? Wow, you like yours really raisiny. You can put them all the way to the edge so that the person that gets the last little piece here gets a raisin too. Nobody likes to do cinnamon rolls and not get a raisin. Okay, we've got just a few left. You want a few more? Yours is almost covered, Gretchen. Get one little one left. Boop, right there. Okay. Do you like nuts? These are pecans. Organic pecans at that. Do you want to do some? We'll just use all these up too. If it doesn't cover it, that's fine. You have enough? What do we do now with this?
Roll it up.
Good job. We get to roll it. I just take the outside here and just kind of roll it and then go down. I got a big thing to roll. Boy, mine's like a big old centipede or something, huh?
Yeah.
Good thing it doesn't have legs and walk off the counter.
Yeah.
Whew, this is a big cinnamon roll.
Yeah, but you cut it in pieces, then it makes a whole bunch.
Good, yeah. And if it gets too thick, you can always stretch it. Stretch it that way and stretch it this way. Make it have legs, huh? Go bloop, 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 bloop. Okay, all of our cream went to one side. Go back over there, cream. Okay. Now, some people like to cut it with a knife, but sometimes that cuts your counter, and that's not very nice. So you know what? Good point. Good job. A good friend of mine told me to use dental floss. And I think that's a really good idea. I'm going to give you...
Sometimes we just use thread.
Do you? That would work too, huh? So you've done this before. Okay, just a minute, Gretchen. You just hold on to your piece. I'm going to give Esther a piece. You rolled that really nice. And I'm going to get myself a piece. Okay. Boy, I almost didn't make mine long enough. Now we get to be dental hygienists. We're not going to do our teeth. We're going to go through this tooth right here and floss this cinnamon roll. Watch this. You put it across like that and just go zoop. And that one doesn't have much in it, but that was a fat one.
Really fat one.
Can you do that? You don't want to do them too thick. And just pull it just like that. Whoop. And there's our cinnamon roll. Pretty, pretty. Can you get it? Are you getting all tangled up? There you go. Okay, pull. Good job. Yep, put them in there. You can do one more probably on yours. Okay. We'll just keep going till our pan is full. And you can make it whatever size you want. There's little eaters and big eaters, so it's nice to have all different sizes. Okay. Just like that. Let's put one more right here. And that pan's going to be pretty full. Okay, that look pretty full, or can we fit one more in there? Let's go for it. Do one more. We'll squeeze them. They'll just be nice and fat.
Yeah.
Doesn't that look yummy? Which piece are you going to have when it comes out of the oven? Yeah, that looks like a good one. That's the biggest one. You must have the biggest appetite. Now these we're going to just leave on the counter and let them rise, and then for about an hour or so, and then we'll put them in the oven at about 325, and we're going to bake them for about 40 minutes or 45 minutes, depending on your oven. So let me just show you what I'm going to do with. We'll just prepare our bread pan for this.
You know what's really good?
What's really good?
Put butter, and then you put all the other goodies in it.
You like the butter the best? We should have put butter on yours, huh? Because that's how you like it. Okay, I'm just going to take this big, I don't know if it's too big. We'll just try it. We're going to squeeze these ends together, pinch them together. So if you have extra dough sometimes and you don't want to make another pan, get it all prepared, you can just squeeze the ends together like this, kind of tuck them under, and just kind of work it. Wow, that's going to be a big loaf. We have to take one piece off. Nope. We'll make a big loaf. That's fine. We can do that. All right, we're just going to work it like this. And it doesn't matter if some of this gooey stuff runs out the sides. It'll still work and still be good. This is not going to fit in the pan very good, but we're going to make a big loaf for Gretchen because she has a big appetite. How does that look?
Good.
Now we'll let that raise too and then bake it at the same time. Huh? Thank you for your help. Was it fun?
Yeah,
We'll have to do this. We'll have to do this again sometime, huh? Because it's fun to get our hands all gooey and then to eat the gooey stuff. Okay, thank you. We'll let them rise, and then we'll put them in the oven, and when they're done, we'll eat warm, yummy, delicious caramel rolls, huh? Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Let Oma show us how to make a braided bread.
Let you spray that one.
Sure.
And we're going to make a sesame braided bread. So I'm putting sesame seeds in here to roll it in.
Need some oil?
Mm-hmm. Just kind of have to smash the bubbles out again.
Oma's the bread queen, isn't she? She's made bread for years and years. What age did you start making bread, Oma? Do you remember?
No, probably when I was 12.
Okay. You probably made yeast bread then, huh?
Yes, I made yeast bread for
What'd you need?
many,
Oh.
many years.
We took a class then on how to make the bread.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put this down.
And it was more for bakeries, so we thought, I don't know if we'll ever do this or not. But Opa encouraged us so much. He was with us too, and he encouraged us so much. And he says, "Oh, you girls can do it. You can do it." So we said, "Well, if you think so, we'll try."
Yeah,
So
now he's really
always
proud
been very
of you.
encouraging to us.
Back over here.
So we cut it in 3 strips for our braid. Only I'll probably have an extra strip so Obed can have one.
A little
You want to make a little braided loaf too?
Boy, that would be fun. Do you know how to braid ropes and braid hair? You've watched your brothers and sisters do it, huh?
The sides that be mine.
Okay.
And the insides are down. And that's that be mine. And this that be mine.
Oh. We'll see what Oma gives you, huh? There's lots of variations you can do to the bread. You can braid it all kinds of different fancy ways, huh?
Yes, you can. Just be creative. Whatever you figure out. All right, that one can be for Obed. Mommy will help you. Mommy will help you make that in whatever
Yep.
shape you
Cut
want
it in
there.
3 pieces like that.
And this will roll in the sesame seeds.
Can you use other seeds in that?
Yes, you could use poppy seeds,
Okay.
and probably could do it
Roll
with
that out like that.
chopped nuts too if you wanted to, and with some cinnamon and brown sugar. A lot of things, just however you want to do it. Use your imagination.
What's this?
Okay, just wait.
Yeah.
Do you need your pan closer?
Could you put something over the top of that once you get it all braided to help the sesame seeds
Stay on better.
yes.
I've never tried it, but I think that you certainly could try it. That might work. This is actually why I roll it quite a bit, to get the sesame seeds to kind of stick into the dough a little bit. I used to put egg, on top of the crust and things. It does look really nice, and it also helps the sesame seeds to stick on your buns and things like that you want.
We'll make sure that Oma has enough room. And then we'll put yours on. Oops.
Almost slower than you. You're just so fast.
Oma's putting all those fun seeds on there, huh?
You want to roll yours in seed, or you want to leave it that way?
Planting seeds.
All right. I'll let you have a pan of seeds, and you can do that. Oma just likes to get them
You
stuck
like to
in
do
there
just
good.
like Oma, huh? Just wait till Oma's done.
Okay, now we'll trade here. Okay? And you can have the seeds.
Okay. Okay, roll them in the seeds. Keep
You
your
have to kind of pin the ends together
that
here a little
together.
It's
bit.
fun planting the seeds.
Yeah.
Scoot it over a little bit so he has room. Okay, and then we start to braid.
Okay, there's one. Just wait. We'll just put it right here for now. See how Oma does that?
You have to plop it over this way, this way.
Oma had lots of sisters, so she braided
This
lots of
way.
hair in her day.
This way. This way, and this way. So,
Okay, Oma's ready for you to do yours.
okay, you can braid yours up now, see?
Okay, did you learn from Oma how to do it? There's one piece. Just wait. We'll put the other piece on. And then our third piece. Okay, we've got to pinch it together at the top, Oma said.
It's always nice to have fun
Candy in the front.
with what you're baking.
Okay, now
besides
put this
it being
piece over this
so
one.
good, tasty, and nourishing.
That way. Pull it down this way. Wait, pull it down this way. Okay, now this one. This one's kind of tender. That way. Okay, now this one over the top. That way. And this one over the top that way.
Wow.
There. And pinch this
pretty
together.
Good.
There, and it'll
Very
stay.
nice.
Good
There.
job. Did you like doing that with Oma?
Isn't it enjoyable? Isn't it
Yes.
wonderful to be able to do that?
And it's even more enjoyable to eat it.
Yes. So today we're going to mix up some dough for waffles. And this same dough can also be used for pancakes. And what's nice about it is you can mix it up the night before, which we're doing this evening. We're going to do it and have the waffles ready in the morning. Because a lot of times you're kind of in a hurry in the mornings. You know, you've got company or you're getting ready to start the day. And so you mix it up, it doesn't take long, and then it sits overnight. Next morning, you're ready to pop it in the waffle iron and enjoy a wonderful, delicious, nutritious breakfast. So we're going to start out with 2 cups of the starter that we have measured out already. And we're going to put that in first. We have it all measured out. It's one that hasn't been fed for at least 6 hours. So it's had time to grow, start. And then we will add 2 cups of milk.
Okay.
Equal amount. Now, if someone in your family or someone you're fixing for or yourself do not tolerate milk very well, cow's milk, you can use almond milk, rice milk, or coconut milk, or just whatever kind of milk rice milk, whatever you use otherwise.
Okay.
It won't affect the starter. It'll still be good. And then after the milk, we will add some salt to it. This is a natural sea salt. And I usually put just a little bit of dab of honey in it. It helps them to brown nicely, but that is not something that is imperative.
Okay.
That's just according to what you would like to do. And so I just kind of mix this just a little bit here. And then we're ready to add 2 cups of flour. And we'll just add like a cup and a half, and then we'll see how that is, because I don't like to get it too thick. We'll just put part of that in until we get it mixed. You can use an electric beater or you can just use the whisk, whichever you would like to do, whichever is handy for you. And also, if you are one of those fortunate people that live in the country and have a milk cow, then you can use rich milk or cream, light cream, and makes them very, very nice without having to add any oil to it. With just the milk, we will add a little bit of oil, which I prefer either melted butter or olive oil, but any good oil works just fine.
Okay.
You just want to get it mixed. If it doesn't come out, if you look like you've got a little bit of lumps in it, you know, after it sits overnight in the morning, this natural starter just digests the grain, and it just is all worked out. You never know that there was even little pieces of flour in there. I think it'll take just about right, exactly 2 cups. We'll add just a little bit of oil. Probably better to measure it, but I didn't. There we come. It's not a real crucial thing. And then you will cover it with a saran wrap, something so that it doesn't dry out.
Okay.
And set it in a cool place. I usually put it in the refrigerator. It doesn't hurt for it to be that cold. But in order for the good micro life that's in the starter to digest that and make it real digestible for us and what we'd like to have it do, it usually takes a little more time.
Okay.
So it's actually more nutritious if we let it sit longer. Good morning, girls.
Good morning.
It's another beautiful morning, isn't it?
Yes.
It's so wonderful to be here and to have you here. And we're going to do another exotic thing that is with the starter. We're going to do waffles today.
Yummy.
And we made the waffle dough last night. And so this morning we will put it in the waffle iron and try them out. Oops, it's pretty full, isn't it? It's so wonderful to have so many different things you can do with a starter. And this waffle dough you can use for pancakes also. A lot of things you can use it for. In the waffles you can use to make ice cream sandwiches later on, leftover ones. They're really good if you've got extra ones, make extra ones, and you freeze them, stick them in the toaster, you have fresh waffles again. So that's wonderful. There we go. We have a beautiful waffle. See that beautiful waffle there?
Yes.
Lovely. And so many things you can do with it. If you want to especially make them to put in the toaster, then you usually leave them just a little bit lighter. But if you like them crisp and nice, see how crisp that is? It breaks apart. You girls like to try one?
Hi, girls. We're going to have a lot of fun today. We're going to have a pizza party. We're gonna mix up some pizza dough by hand instead of in a mixer this time to show that you can still do things by hand. So we're going to get started, and I've already measured out 2 cups of starter from I set aside when I fed my starter, and we're going to make 2 pizza crusts.
Okay.
So we're going to pour that into our bowl, and then we're going to add 2 cups of water, because the basic recipe is 1 cup of starter and 1 cup of water and 1 teaspoon of salt for every loaf of bread. And so this is just like making 2 loaves of bread.
Okay.
So Bethany, my niece, is going to put 2 cups of water in there. Thank you. You can pour it in. And then we'll start mixing up. So we usually just mix it a little bit first. And you can add a teaspoon of salt. Actually, 2 teaspoons of salt because we're doing 2 loaves, 2 pizza crusts. There's 1. There's 2. So we'll just mix a little bit to kind of dissolve the salt in there. And then we're going to use hard red wheat flour today.
Okay.
It's already been ground. And the basic recipe is approximately 3 cups of flour for every loaf of bread. So we're going to put about 6 cups of flour in it. We'll put a few in first and start mixing it. The more you mix it by hand, the better, because a bread mixer, of course, mixes it a lot. And so the more you can mix it by hand, the nicer the texture of your dough is going to be.
Okay.
To get the gluten content worked up. We'll put about a half a teaspoon of the pizza seasoning in per crust. So we'll do a full teaspoon for these 2 crusts. You want to add that right now, Bethany? Thank you. That just gives it a little bit more flavor. You just keep mixing it by hand until it starts getting too thick to mix by hand. Then you can knead it with your hands and get your hands all messy, huh? And with the bread dough, or the pizza dough, you don't need to get it quite as thick as you would bread dough, because you want to have it nice and pliable that you can smooth it all out over your surface.
Okay.
You know you can pretty much add more flour whenever it starts getting nice and smooth.
Okay.
You just keep working it until, see how it's getting smoother
Yes.
as I work it. You can add a little more flour. That should be pretty close to enough flour for this pizza. The nice thing about pizza dough is you can, different people do it different ways. If you're in a real big hurry for dinner, you can just put this right in your pans and bake it right away. Or you can let it rise in your bowl and then form it and press it out into your pans. Or you can press it in your pans first and let it rise in your pans for a little bit. Everybody does it a little bit different. Okay, it's getting pretty stiff for mixing up by hand, so I'm going to pour it out on my counter, I think. Put a little bit of oil on there. That's good. Still a little bit sticky, but you want it a little bit stickier than your normal bread dough anyways.
Okay.
I'm going to add a little bit more flour. And we'll just knead it in. You know when it's enough flour whenever it's starts getting real spongy and bouncing back at you when you press on it. I'll show you in a little bit what I mean. There, I think that's about getting there, and I'll show you what I mean by it being spongy. So even when you're doing bread, just your normal bread dough, you just keep working it until it's not sticking to your hands too much. And when you press on it, it bounces back at you, see? It's getting nice and spongy. So I'll cut this in half, and then Bethy's going to help me put it in the pan. You want to spray your pans very well so that the crust doesn't stick whenever you start slicing it and getting it out to eat. Hopefully that's not too sticky. Thank you. These are just a pizza pastry roller. They work really well for doing this, don't they? So just put it out to the edges. Can I hand me the oil real quick? I'm gonna... When you get it to the edges, it's just kind of nicer to use your hands, I think. Because it's so stretchy, it wants to go whoop, right back into it, doesn't it? So I'll just get it all the way out to the edge. And we're going to let it rise for about an hour after we're done, and then bake it at about 350 to 400 degrees for about... If you bake it at 400 degrees, it only takes about 10 to 15 minutes, just until you see it starting to get a little bit brown and bubbly. Unless you like a more crispy crust, then you can bake it a little bit longer.
Okay.
And sometimes when it's done raising, sometimes you need to just push the edges just a little bit more so it's right to the very edge, because it still wants to keep stretching back into the middle, sliding in.
Okay.
That looks pretty good, huh? And you can make a higher crust on it if you want, but about one batch of bread or dough for a one loaf batch is about what it takes to make one pan of pizza like this.
All right.
So that's another fun way to, another fun thing to learn about what to do with the starter dough, huh?
Yes. That's neat.
Well, we'll see you after a while, and we'll enjoy eating pizza later.
All right.
going out. Now it shall be, if you will listen to the voice of your way, faithful to obey all His commandments, then I will set you high above all other nations, and all of these blessings shall overtake you. There will be blessings in the city, blessings in the country, plenty of children, and plenty to feed them. There will be plenty of sheep and cattle, plenty of fruit and bread. Blessings when you're coming in, blessings when you're going out. Bring the full tithe into the storehouse, so there's food in the temple. Put me to the test, saith Yahweh, and I will open up the windows of heaven, and all of these blessings to overflowing. There will be blessings in the city, blessings in the country, plenty of children, and plenty to feed them. There will be plenty of sheep and cattle, plenty of fruit and bread. Blessings when you're coming in, blessings when you're going out.
The crust is pretty much like bread dough.
This is awesome. Look at yeah. 5. I have a starter here, and I think I'm going to need a little help with it.